So hello and welcome to another episode of Scenes Forward. As you can see, I'm in the SL today with a few little updates on this car. First of all is that I went over to the SL shop in this car just outside Stratford-upon-Avon, had a really good day. I couldn't stay for that long, there was something going on in the afternoons. I had to go there for about an hour or so, a couple of hours in the morning and head back. But what a really enjoyable day. I don't think I've ever seen so many SLs in one place. Now if you're not familiar with the SL shop, they are basically a specialist. They used to specialise just in 107 SLs, but they've expanded now to pretty much all SLs, and they also do other Mercs as well, do classic cars. I think they generally pick up from sort of the main deals left off, cars get to 10-15 years old. So they'll have their sort of vintage area, which is sort of pre-1970s cars, and they do sort of 70s, 80s, and they do that what they call modern classic, which is sort of 80s, sort of late 80s, early 90s, right through to sort of 10-15 years old cars. So yeah, really interesting day out, as I don't think I've ever seen that many cars, or SLs particularly, in one place at any one time. They also seem to have a lot of the 190 SLs there. I think there must be at least 10 of those on site. I've never seen 10 190 SLs on one site. I think the only one they were missing probably of the older SLs was a Galway. They didn't have one of those on site, but you never know, they might have one tucked out the way, didn't want people to see, but there we go. Also want to say a big shout out to Andy, who I met on the day. Andy's a follower of the channel. He's got R107 380SL as well, and it was really nice having a bit of a chat with him. I've never had that before, where someone's come to recognise me from the channel and had a chat, and I actually don't mind it all. I really enjoyed it actually. It was nice knowing that someone actually watches this really, and actually, you know, always sees numbers. I think you get really carried away with numbers on YouTube and see how many people subscribe, how many people watch, and you just look at numbers all the time. It's so nice to actually have someone come and say, I really like your channel, yeah, I'm really enjoying watching the videos, you know. So went and look around his lovely 500SL as well. He's modified it and made it sort of a little bit of a sort of rally spec with some nice sort of lights on the front, a few little modifications as well, which is really nice to see. Nice that he's personalising it to how he wants his SL, and that's what I really liked about his car. So my next little update is that I also had on that day a bit of an issue with this car. Now I did mention in one of my previous videos that when the car was coasting along, it was going, the revs were going from about 600 to about 1000 quite rapidly, and it was quite varied. It was quite sporadic in the way it was running. When you came to a complete stop though and put it into park, it was absolutely fine. So bit of an issue with the car. Anyway, I went to the SL shop. On the way back, the car decided that it wanted to cut out, so it turned to a corner, it slowed down for a junction, and the engine wouldn't have enough revs to keep itself running, to basically stall. So it meant for quite an interesting journey home. It did cut out a couple of times at junctions, which is interesting, and once at roundabout, which is quite interesting. What I had to do was, when I came to a junction, put my foot on the brake, and then try and keep the revs, manually keep the revs higher with the accelerator, and just keep them up to 1000 so that the car wasn't cutting out, which is quite hard to do actually. So anyway, spoke to a few people, looked around online. As you know, I've replaced the distributor cab before. I might have something to do with it, but I think this is actually a separate issue. Turns out it was something to do with the vacuum system. Now, I say something to do with the vacuum system because it's quite a big system, that is. There could be quite a lot to go wrong, and all you need is a slight split or a slight kink in the pipe or something on the vacuum pipes for it to go wrong. Now, I was sort of dreading this because I thought, oh, this is either a really easy issue to sort, which I'll tell you how it happened in a minute, what the result was. Always going to be a really hard issue, always going to be, I'll do a smoke test and it'll be a really hard part to get, or it'll be a really inaccessible place to get to. Anyway, I shouldn't have worried, because I actually went out and started to buy little kits for a homemade smoke test. Now you can buy a smoke machine there, sort of £50 upwards really, to sort of a few £100 depending on what you want to spend. And I was thinking, could I possibly, and I got the idea from a YouTube video, could I possibly do a smoke test myself? So I actually went out, I bought a little bit of clear, like a hose, very narrow little hose, and I've also bought one of those, what do you call them, like a jar cup, like a jar with a handle on that you have drinks in restaurants in. I bought one of those. It had a screw on top with a little hole in there, and my pipe actually fitted in there directly. I then bought some connectors as well off eBay, so I had everything I needed to actually do my very own smoke test. Now, there was a couple of different ways that you could actually reduce the smoke. You could either have, if we live in quite an old house, we actually check our chimneys quite a bit to make sure they're not blocked. And we have these little pellets that you buy, you set fire to them, and they generate a lot of smoke. You could either use one of them. Alternatively, you could smoke. People on YouTube are smoking into the vacuum system, which, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that with petrol, just putting loads of cigar smoke or cigarette smoke in there. Yeah, okay, probably not the most safest thing to do. Oh, the other thing which I never knew about was actually burning coffee. I never knew you could actually burn coffee. If you set fire to coffee, it burns quite slowly and it actually produces a lot of white smoke. So actually that was another thing that I could have used. Put it into the jar, hook all the pipes up, and actually then disconnect the system at one part and put it in its place, so then you could actually see how it was, where the smoke was going to come from. So I could set fire to my coffee and actually see where, if there's anything coming out. So I was actually all ready to take the system a little bit apart and actually test for this smoke. So all we'd have to do, take off the air filter housing as well, put something over that. Someone had a dog poop bag. Well, I have 2 miniature schnauzers, so I have plenty of those around that you could do, and just put an elastic band around it basically, so air isn't going to escape out of there, or the smoke isn't going to escape out of there when you hook it to the system. And I was going to set fire some coffee. Very random, I never thought I'd say that. Set fire some coffee and test the system. Now, I was already had everything I needed to do, so I decided, well, let's go and do that then. So I came out with all my equipment. I opened up the bonnet, had a quick look around, and I thought, before I start, I'm just going to have a look, see if I can see anything obvious myself, which is what I should have done at the very beginning before I actually buying anything. Admittedly, I've only spent £7-8 on all the stuff that I needed because it was nice and cheap. But yeah, I should have done that, because I quickly look around and quickly actually found the problem with the car. And I will put a little bit of a clip in as well now, overlay a clip in there to show exactly what was wrong with the car. But I found actually one of the pipes had come off a part, and I'm not too sure what part it is, but basically it just fallen off, whether it slipped off something, whether it happened when I fitted the distributor cap. But I think it happened before, because it was still having a little bit of an issue before, but the issue was getting worse. And that obviously was enough for the system not to function. So yeah, literally it was that simple. And I started the car up. I've been out for a drive in it a couple of times now, and it runs absolutely fine. The other giveaway was that the economy scale on the dash, now that actually runs on the vacuum system. And that wasn't working either, and I plugged the pipe back in, and suddenly in my instant test to start the car and see if the economy scale was working, and sure enough it was. So it did that, took it out for a run, and it's solved. The car now runs really well. It's probably the best running since I've had it now. So yeah, really pleased with the way the car went. I'm glad it's running, because I've actually booked this car in for a few shows, so it needed a quick fix. That's why I thought, oh, I better get on this job fairly quick, because I'm actually going to, down to Cheltenham-ish area, to the Classic Motor Hub, which will be really good. So I'm looking forward to it. I've never been, and they're doing a German cars and coffee event, so I've booked myself in for the pre-1990 classic car section. I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, I've never been, always wanted to go. It looks quite an interesting place. They have a big variation of cars there. So they're doing a German cars and coffee event down there. So that's actually really good. I'm probably going to try and do a film with that one, hopefully, as well. So yeah, a little bit of update on the SL. Great there at the SL shop. Slightly questionable drive home, but the issue was really easily sorted out. I'm so glad that it was, because I didn't really want another issue with the one in this car. Touch wood, I'm going to say, touch wood, it should be alright now. As I say, I'll have to keep an eye on that pipe, I know. Was it something that happened when I fitted the distributor cap? I don't know. But anyway, so I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update on this, because I was going to try and do a video of it, but in the end, actually, it was that simple. I thought, no, I'll just tell you about it, because it's quite an amusing story. You could take it quite frustrating, or you could say, actually, quite an amusing little tale, that one, really. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here for today, guys. As ever, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.